Good, Emma. How are you?
Thank
Good.
you. I'll start by asking about team news, injuries. How's everyone come through the Man City game?
Well, yeah. I'm just thinking, yeah, all good. Probably very similar to what we had last weekend. Obviously, some players had some minutes, the likes of Jordan and Vitaly, Aaron Hickey. So, yeah, we're in a good place.
And Rico Henry, I know you said he was back on the grass. How is he getting on?
Yeah, he's still training to a point, just coming back as it naturally would. He'll dip in and out of sessions to get him back up to a level. But no, I don't think Rico will be involved this week or next week.
Now, there's a world in which if you beat Palace this weekend, you could secure European football before the final day of the season. Of course, that's very dependent on results elsewhere, which I know you can't control. But do you think that element of it might be on the players' minds and indeed on your own mind as you head into this game this weekend?
Yeah, to the exact extent that the players will be thinking about it, I'm not entirely sure. I think what I do know is they'll be really focused if training is anything to go by this week, with a real intent and edge to everything we've done, and knowing what a big game it is for us come Sunday.
Oliver Glasner has been quite unapologetic about his squad rotation and how he's doing that for the good of his own team and not in respect to any other team that he may face, given of course that they have that European final coming up. Do you think there could be a danger, of course, of reading too much into their rotation when it comes to you facing them and the task that you have to do?
Yeah, listen, Oliver's team selection is very much his prerogative. Exactly what his team will be on Sunday, we'll find out an hour and 15 minutes before, and whoever is on the pitch, it'll be a very difficult team to beat. They'll obviously make changes in around the times that they normally do, and I think it's fair to say it's as I would probably be on that final to a degree, but they're a very, very difficult team to play against. Crystal Palace, really tricky opponents, well organised without the ball clearly, and have huge threats, individual threats that you need to be very, very aware of.
And they've been on a remarkable journey the last couple of seasons, which maybe in some ways mirrors the journey that you as a club are on at the moment. Do you look at Palace and all they've achieved and the fact that they're in a European final and think actually that could be you in a few years?
I think we're on our own journey. I think it's always nice to see clubs do well in Europe. I think it's good for the league. It shows that it's possible to achieve cup success like they did last year. We strived really hard in both domestic cup competitions, and obviously we're pushing pretty hard in the league, and we want to finish that in the last couple of games.
Igor Thiago has been nominated for Player of the Season. What a deserved nomination that is. I feel like I've run out of ways to ask you how special he is every week, but when you look at that list that he's on, how deserved is his spot on that list?
It's nice recognition for him, and it's deserved recognition. I think again the backstory around how he got to this season is a long road, and even in his Brentford career over the last couple of years he had to work extremely hard to get to this season in a place where he was able to impact the league. So to be able to do what he has done this season is quite remarkable, really.
Michael Coyote also had a nod in there for Young Player of the Season, and you know where I'm going next with this. You also are with the nomination for Manager of the Season. I know you speak all the time about how it's never an individual job, but it must be nice to have that recognition for everything that the club and yourself have achieved.
Yeah, I spoke to Chris on the way over. I've been pretty busy this afternoon, funny enough, so I haven't had too much time to digest it. What is really nice is that we've got obviously myself and Thiago and Michael. It's huge really for the club to get that type of recognition for a potential player of the year, a young player of the year, and Michael's journey, the way he's come in. And the two players, and certainly myself, will be the first to say that doesn't happen without everybody rowing in the same direction, everybody pushing really, really hard. And them two in particular obviously have been remarkably consistent with their performances for players really in their first full season in the Premier League.
Finally, I want to ask you about a topic that's been making the headlines this week. I don't know whether you watched the Arsenal-West Ham game at the weekend. There's been a lot of discussion about grappling in the box, and IFAB are going to be having a look into that. As a former set-piece coach, I wanted to get your take on that sort of grappling before corners. Do you think the rules are sufficient?
It's a good question. Sufficient. I think the whatever the rules are, players and teams will always try to find an edge, an angle, an advantage. I think that's just in the nature of sport, and they're always going to test the officials on every level that they can.
Thanks.
Cheers. Thank you.
Bye.
Hi Keith,
Yeah.
just going back to Michael and Eagle's respective nominations, I mean, how proud are you to have overseen their development this season?
Really proud, yeah, on different levels. Two very different stories, two very different individuals, but both individuals and players that show everybody what it means to them when they go on the pitch, and they do that every single day. Probably the most passionate players we have. Every day they're just filled with positivity. They're a joy to be around, both of them. And yeah, the levels they've produced this year have been pretty special, really. They've been huge players for us in our forming of a new team, really, and them two have been huge parts of it.
Do you think their respective forms this season, their nominations as well for their awards, can act as a motivational tool for other players, knowing
a Brazilian international at Brentford? I think that pretty much says everything about Brentford in 2026. I think it'll only be a matter of time before Michael represents Italy, again because of his level of performances. So yeah, I think the journey that we're on as a football club for years and years, the club has been built on really solid foundations, and we're always looking to be really ambitious and strive, and I think those two players are a really good example of that.
Going back to your nomination for manager of the season, the official Premier League website today, I know you said you've been really busy, so you haven't had much time to read everything, but they've just said that you've had a sensational debut season, your team have played some brilliant football, and you obviously are challenging for a top 6 spot. I know there's 2 games left to play, there's everything left to achieve for Brentford and for yourself, but when you do take your time, go away on your holidays, how will you look back on this season?
Yeah, with pride, real pride. I think it's been a really special season, and that's why I'm really keen for it to finish in that way. I think what we've achieved collectively has been really special on so many fronts. I think the trust that we have as a group is it's pretty unique. I think the feel of a training ground, the smell of a training ground can tell you everything about the people in it. That's not just players, that's all staff. I think it's a really good place to be, the buzz, the energy. When you walk into the training ground and you feel the training sessions, it's just a nice place to be, and we've had to work hard to maintain that and I think enhance it.
In terms of the Palace game, do you expect a cagey match on Sunday?
Difficult to know, really. At times they are what they are in terms of their defensive structure, whether that's pressing you aggressively or when they get into a block, wherever that is in the pitch. Really well organised, really well drilled, very set way of playing, obviously, that Oliver's done with Palace over the last few seasons, and they're a difficult team to play against, so we will have to play really well on Sunday to win.
Thanks, Keith.
Thank you.
Ian.
First of all, congratulations on your nomination.
Thank you.
In your wildest dreams on day 1 of the season, did you think what's happened in the last 10 months was going to happen?
Probably not. No. I've just said there, we've had to work really hard to get to this point. I think we got it to a point after the first few months where we'd calmed everything down, and then I think from that point we found a way of working together. Everybody went all in on that. Confidence is huge in sport, as everybody in this room will know. I think players fed off some really big results and then really big performances of certain players at different stages of the season. We're driving the team, and we've created a really competitive edge to how we play, and a competition for places within a really talented squad, and really a really humble group, but so hungry to achieve. So a long answer to your question, but no.
And was there a point in the season where you yourself thought, right, I'm no longer a rookie. I'm no longer the new kid on the block amongst all these other 19 managers that have done whatever they've gone and done. And I'm actually here with a team that are going to be fighting for, as it turns out with 2 games to go, not only a place in Europe, even possibly Champions League.
Probably hasn't really sunk in as yet in terms of the overall feel of the season. I have to be honest, it never fazed me in any way, and that wasn't coming from a place of overconfidence in any way, shape or form, because I know how difficult this league is, and I know the level of individuals, players and the managers that we're going up against on a weekly basis. I know how difficult it can be to get results. So now where I had absolute faith was in the people I was working with, the players that I knew were just good people and hugely talented. And like I kind of alluded to before, I felt like we got to a point where, okay, this is us, and now we need to push on and evolve and constantly look to improve everything we do. And I think we've done that as the season's gone on.
And just one more on you. Have you changed in any way in the last 10 months?
Have I changed in any way?
I don't know how to answer that.
I don't think so. I think, it's probably for other people to answer, really. I don't think so. I'm very true to myself. I love working with the people I work with. I feel really honoured to be doing the role I'm doing. Every day I drive in, I love it. And I've just probably found that the only difference is from the early months, I suppose, is I found a better rhythm to how I work on a weekly basis, and the rhythm of the training week and the commitments I have, like this as an example. But Chris will get back to you on that.
I'm completely checked the record books, but I'm going to stand by this as probably a statement that's correct. I don't think any team has had as few games in the Premier League before getting into Europe via the league as you've had. This weekend your only 189th game for Brentford in the Premier League, which goes to show just what an achievement this club and what an example this club is.
I think it's a brilliant club, yeah. I think it's really unique. It's part of the reason why I wanted to come here a couple of years ago, to be surrounded by good people, innovative people, forward-thinking people, a positive vibe and energy around your daily work, if that's what you want to call it. So yeah, if that can be achieved, it's going to be truly special.
And one final one, you've been asked about the rules regarding corners and grappling and what have you. How difficult is it, you know this from being a coach and now being a manager, how difficult is it every week coming up with something which is completely new, which you can get your players used to use on a Saturday, which fall within the rules, which no one else maybe has ever seen?
That's a challenge, and it's harder than ever, because every team is on it. Every team is paying that part of the game, the level of respect, I suppose, and time spent, whether it's in meetings or on the grass, to be exactly that, the one that can come out on top in the battle of set pieces.
How many times this season has it actually paid off for you, do you reckon?
Set pieces?
Yeah, I mean, it's something completely out new that's come off the training ground and you go, that was worth 3 hours doing that. Yeah,
listen, it's not my bag anymore. It's we have our set piece coach Stephen Rice and Kev, who's on defending set pieces. So it's their hard yards that do all that. I'm obviously involved in it, but not to the level that I was. I spend my hours elsewhere, and some of that has been very well spent, and some of it not so well spent.
Good luck for the rest of the season.
Cheers, thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Anything before we go under embargo? We'll go to John and then over there. Yeah.
Hey, John.
You're obviously in a really strong position to finish in European spots. Have been for some weeks now. Whenever you've been asked about it, the kind of prospects of it, you've been reluctant to kind of overtly set a target. I was wondering, has it been an intentional stance this whole time? To maybe take some pressure off the players, or maybe more instinctive?
Yeah, more instinctive, really. It's not as if I've been in this position before, is it? So it's there was too many games to play, too many points available to be talking about that too far out. So now we're here with 2 games to go. Obviously, it's a little bit different. We've got 6 points maximum to play for, so I think we need to be pretty honest in terms of we're obviously going for it. The message for that doesn't change against Crystal Palace. We have to play well to win the game. Again, that doesn't change, but we want it. We are and we have been striving towards it consistently, because you're right, we've been in these positions for a number of months now, so it's something that we're confident we can play well in the last 2 games. The squad is starting to look a little bit stronger. We've got more options to come off the bench and impact it, but we'll have to play really well in the last 2 games to get the points needed.
And some of your fellow head coaches have been in the race for Europe this whole time. They've been quite bullish in their press conferences, saying about their aspirations to get this, get that. There's obviously no right or wrong way to do it, but just wondering what you think when you hear your peers maybe taking different styles. Can you see the merit in them doing that?
They're a lot more experienced than me, most of them, and it's the first time I've heard anything along those lines around what they've said, because you'll have heard me say before, I don't tend to have time to read what other managers are saying, so it's each to their own. Thank you. Hey.
Obviously, you've got some player nominations. You've got yourself a nomination this season. Sean has reached 100 appearances. Do you think that shows that this club perhaps isn't overachieving and you are working towards something very sustainable?
Yeah, I think the club is very ambitious. I think it's a testament to the work that's gone on, the recognition around things like that. That we are where we are in the league on merit. I think that would be the one thing I would say. I think we've played really well this year. We've had to come through some tough stages at the beginning. We went through a period recently where we were drawing some games. We've obviously lost a couple in the last 3 against Man United and Man City. The league is really, really hard. But when I look at the performances, and I'm really honest with our performance levels, firstly to myself, which is most important, and then to the players and staff, I feel like we deserve to be where we are. Is that sustainable? It is if we keep doing the right things, yeah, for sure.
And you will be obviously looking for European football, but also you have the possibility of being the best club in West London. How do you look at that, and does that play any part in your preparations?
Not really, no. The first part of what you said is probably more important to me. I appreciate for fans it'll be a big one, and it'll be a nice thing to say. So it's certainly not lost on me, but it probably hasn't been at the forefront of my thoughts.
And it's your final home game of the season. Does that hit differently to other games?
If we win, it'll be lovely, obviously, to celebrate with the fans. I think that will be a lovely end of season home game to experience together. We just need to focus on the game really, and what will be inevitably a really difficult game to navigate. So yeah, we'll see what that brings afterwards.
And just on Christian Norgard, he's decided to retire from international football at 32. Do you know if he managed to speak to any fellow countrymen such as Damsgaard and Jensen regarding his decision?
No, I don't. No, Christian's international plans are very much his business. He's someone who I've said before I missed when he left. I really enjoyed working with him last season. The utmost respect for him as a professional and as a man. And yeah, I was worried when he left because he was a really good leader, quiet leader, really good values. And yeah, I wish him well.
And what's your opinion on retiring from international football?
I didn't retire, I just wasn't picked. Would be my opinion on it. I was very patriotic. I'm still very patriotic. I love playing for my country, but it's very much an individual decision.
And just one last question on Damien Duff. He spent a few days here. What's your professional relationship with him? My professional relationship?
Professional. Damien's been a friend for 20 plus years. Someone I value really highly. Someone that I like spending time with. So he came over, like we have visitors pretty frequently to watch training and give me some observations really.
So is there a job for him if he wants it?
Is there a job for him if he wants it? I think it's Damien's path is very much his own. He's a very unique individual that has undoubtedly got a lot of qualities. As a coach, I've worked with him at the national team with Ireland. He then went on to become a head coach, obviously, and won the League of Ireland. So he's a really good coach.
Okay, thank you, Keith.
Cheers, Pat.